Hi everyone. Hope you're having a great day. For your music lesson this week, we are talking about eighth notes and tied notes, and then also about dotted quarter notes. I know it sounds like a lot, but hopefully it'll be pretty easy to understand. So, since we were already working with the Peanut Sat on a Railroad Track song, clappy, speaky thing, whatever you want to call it, I thought that would be a really great example to use to teach about this. So, all we're going to be using today are peanuts, okay? So, remember that one part of the piece that went peanut, 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 peanut over and over again? So, those are eighth notes, okay? Those are TTs, right? T, 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 T. And this is what they look like, okay? So I've drawn out all of our eighth notes here, and I've written the words out. All right, so I'm just gonna point along and show you what this looks like. T, 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 peanut, 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 right? And so if we're talking about 4 beats, if we have 4 beats per measure here, that means we're going to be counting to 4, okay? That's really important to know. You always got to know how many beats you're counting. Sometimes we might be counting 3 beats, okay? But here we're counting 4. So, because these are TTs, there are 2 T's per every beat, right? So it's a little confusing, but these grouped together equal only 1 beat. You should remember that from class. So when we count this, normally it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, but we got more TTs than we have numbers. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to break up the numbers into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And so that way we can account for all of the TTs and we're still counting only to 4 and not adding any extra numbers, right? So let's count this, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Pretty easy, right? And so just kind of keep track of that. Think about that. Hold that information in the back of your brain. And let's go back to the peanuts, okay? Peanut, 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 peanut. Not too bad. Now, I'm going to introduce a little thing called a tie. And a tie in music is kind of like a little, a curved line that ties 2 notes together. And when we tie 2 notes together, we actually combine them. And so it's kind of like adding, okay? So like when we add numbers together, that's what tying does. It adds those 2 notes together so that it's just one long note instead of 2 shorter notes, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate that with our first peanut here. If I tied this pea to this nut, it's going to look like that. Kind of looks like a little smiley face, right? So if I tie these together, this, I'm going to erase the nut part because now this is just one long note. Even though it looks like 2 notes, it's actually just, we combine them to be one long note. So it's going to sound like this. Pea, peanut, 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 pea, peanut, peanut, peanut. Does that make sense? So now, this is just a pea, because we took out the nut part, because we're just combining this into one long note, and these just stay the way they were. So, I'm going to turn on a metronome, and we're going to clap this out a couple times. 1, 2, here we go. Pea, peanut, 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 pea, peanut, 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 pea, peanut, 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 pea, peanut, peanut, peanut. All right, makes sense? This should sound familiar to you, right? So we know that these are TTs. T, 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 T. So now that we've combined these 2 eighth notes, these TTs, into one longer note, what note do we have now? What does it sound like? Ta. It sounds like ta, okay? So now instead of T, 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 we have ta, T, 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 ta, T, 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 T. So this is kind of another way to write ta out in music, okay? So to make things easier, I'm just going to go ahead and erase the TTs, and I'm going to replace that. Uh-oh, I lost my eraser. I'm going to replace that with a ta. There we go. All right, so now we got one ta and three TTs. So it sounds like this. Ta, T, 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 ta, T, 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 P, peanut, 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 P, peanut, peanut, peanut. Now, what if we tied this ta to this P? What do you think that's going to sound like? So remember, all we're doing is we're combining this one, we're adding it with this one. All right? So you remember what we did last time when we combined the P to this nut? We got rid of that nut, right? So now we're going to get rid of this P. We're not going to say that, so I'll just erase it. In this first P, all the way over here, this becomes extra long, right? So this is going to end up sounding like this. I'm going to turn on my metronome. 2, here we go. Peanut, 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 peanut. Got that? So, one way to think about it is that you're just kind of saying those other words that we erased. You're saying those in your head, okay? So you can say peanut, 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 peanut. But really, this one is extra long, so we do want to say that one longer. Peanut, 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 peanut. And so the way that we can count that, so basically, we're thinking these counts, but we're not going to say them. So it's going to sound like this. 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and. So that is how you count out that rhythm. I hope you're still with me. So there's just one very last step to this. And all it is we're changing the way we write this, okay? So this can be a little confusing to read in music. When we see something like this, it can be kind of confusing on our brains, right? And it's also just extra work for our hands. So the way we actually write this rhythm is we're going to separate. So now this T is all by himself, so he's just got a little stem. And we just put a little dot here next to this quarter note, next to this ta. Now this ta equals a ta and a T, right? Or 3 T's. So this sounds exactly the same, but this is how we write it. Peanut, 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 peanut. Okay, I hope that is making sense to you. All right? So I want you to try clapping that rhythm out with me, okay? 2, here we go. Peanut, 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 peanut. Okay, so that is how dotted quarter notes work. All it is just you're adding a half of that note onto it, okay? So half of a ta is a T, just one little T by itself, right? And so you're adding a ta and a T together, and now you have basically a ta and a half, okay? So I hope that makes sense to you, all right? I have a little assignment for you. Do your best. If it's still confusing to you, that's totally fine. This is hard stuff, okay? It takes a little while to get used to this. So let me know if you are confused, and hopefully we can clarify things next week. But that's all for today, okay?